Okay, so we are back with our next hands-on session. Now, this is the hands-on session, the practical-oriented session that deals with application program interface and its importance in healthcare domain. Okay. So this will be delivered by Mr. Devanand Behra, and he has got 4 years industrial experience. He's an Oracle certified and Google certified software developer and very well skilled in JPA, Spring Boot, microservices, and other programming languages. Currently, he is at Hexagon Innovation Lab Private Limited, Bhubaneswar. I request Mr. Devanand to take the stage now.
Okay. Thank you, Shushita sir. Hello everyone. Good morning. So, as per Sushita
Mr. Devanand?
said, yes. You can hear me? Hello. Can you hear me, sir?
Am I audible, Mr. Devanand?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So are you ready?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, please, you can continue.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. So, as per the topic, today we are going to discuss about. I'm going to demonstrate about why APIs nowadays are very much important, very much. I mean, kind of a key to the healthcare sector to develop healthcare applications, healthcare web applications, you can say. So, from the starting. We have to understand what API is. APIs, which stand for Application Programming Interfaces, are gaining traction in healthcare as
Mr.
developers seek
Devanand,
simple.
you can
Yes.
share the screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah. Please continue.
Okay, sorry. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, from the starting, first you have to understand what is an API. APIs, which stands for Application Programming Interface. You can see here. So, what API is? API is a medium, you can say. Like, APIs are nothing but methods, functions of applications which are laterally consumed by different applications. I mean, that two applications, maybe that three applications, maybe in different environments, maybe in different languages, maybe in complete different sectors. But API is what it connects those applications nowadays to gain the already present data in a new era. Like you can say, in here, you can say here, application programming interfaces are gaining traction in healthcare as developers seek simple, standard-based solutions for their interoperability problems. So here a key term comes: interoperability problems. So what is that? Suppose I'm a software developer. I am developing a healthcare application, and currently. So what data is already present there in the market or in the web? Now I have to use that data. I have to use suppose some electronic health records and all, which is already present there in the web. Instead of creating my new data, generating new data once again, after all, so that will take so much time. So just to redeem that, just to decrease the time of development, just to reuse the existing environmental resources. So what we can use is apis is nothing but web application methods, functions, which are already done by some other parties, some other softwares. We have to use their apis in order to get the data and process in application. So api is nothing but a way of getting the data. APIs are functions, methods that helps us to access their data and to process by ourselves. And a healthcare organization seeking to create interoperability between internal apps, EHR, electronic health records, and other data exchange tools are increasingly turning to application programming interfaces, APIs, to manage the flow of information between disparate systems. As the ongoing transition to value-based care, population health management, and care coordination creates an imperative for actionable insights at the point of care, APIs can ensure the electronic health record data is accessible to the right internal and external users while remaining protected from malware and outside threats. We are moving out of the era of EHR implementation and adoption and into the era of interoperability. That is well said by Bob Robke, Vice President of Interoperability Center, eHRintelligence.com. Now that we've automated the health record, the next phase is connecting all the information in the EHR. So whatever the EHR, electronic health records, are being generated nowadays by a different kind of electronic applications, electronic devices, that data is we are already automating that, and using that data in APIs. At the time of developing APIs, we can get a better result nowadays. So healthcare stakeholders started to invest in APIs to facilitate this vision of open data exchange. But what are API exactly, and what interoperability changes to do the healthcare organization is a big issue to the new stakeholders who wants to invest or who doesn't know about the APIs. Here, one new point comes, like what is an suppose for a non-technical guy, when we want to make them understand what is an API. So it's basically like I've told, an API is an interface that allows you unrelated software programs. Here a key terms come: unrelated software programs means the deployment environment may be very different, the language may be very different, or the hosted platform may be very different, maybe not similar to each other, the sector may not be similar to each other, but still API interface allows unrelated software programs to communicate with one another. They act as bridges, like I told, mediums between two applications, maybe three, maybe four, maybe numerous. So allowing data to flow regardless of how each application was originally designed. So suppose suppose uh, I have an application which generates data from a X-ray machine. Okay, that is a EHR data, and I have a hold the automation of it. And from that data, if I want to I want to distribute the data, or I want to make that data open source, so I can do that by simply hosting my application in the cloud and making the APIs open. So maybe I can says very much secure them. Maybe I can put some rate limits them. Maybe I can put some other security concern features on them, and I can secure them. So in order to make it accessible by the development world, by the world, so I need to host them, and someone and some developers will come and get my APIs, through which they can get the electronic health records of what I have generated throughout the years. So for applications that functions by pulling a constant stream of data from one more sources, an API is especially important to decrease development time, save storage space. So this is the second thing I've discussed. So I'm from the starting, an API is especially important to decrease development time. So this is what I've pitched. Like, if I want to access the data by myself, which is not developed by myself. I want to start everything from scratch, then that will take time. But instead of that, in case of APIs, someone has already developed the APIs. Here what I have to do is I have to access the URLs, access the URIs. After accessing the URIs, I need to authenticate. After authentication, based on my authentication, what is authorized to this API and what is authorized to my token, that will be privileged to me. So after that, I have to access their data, maybe in form of JSON or maybe in form of XML and all. So I can simply, instead of creating a whole new application just to get the data, just to save the data of users through, I mean, what is already developed in by other users throughout the years, I just have to simply call an API just to get the whole data. Like I can show you later. That is one. An API is especially important to decrease development time, save storage space on endpoint devices. So we can think it of like I am calling an API and getting some data, regardless of I don't know what amount of data they have. I mean, the resource party have. So maybe they may hold a huge amount of data. So what is happening right here? At the runtime only, when we are running the application, when we are running the healthcare, maybe a web application, Android application, at that time only we are getting the data. If we're not running the applications, the data is not coming to us, like the data is not getting stored in anywhere. So that is obviously saving the storage space on the endpoint devices. Like this distributed efficient microservice system may work efficiently and scalable, and in a scalability manner. And it will also overcome any differences in the standards or programming language used to create the data that lives at either end of the bridge. So regardless of which language, regardless of which I've told, regardless of which language you have made the software, you have developed the software, regardless of which technology, how much old technology you've used. So APIs can be used as a bridge just to connect two applications. Regardless of any hosting platform, any programming language and all. For example, third-party planning sites like Expedia or Kayak don't generate data on their own to deliver comparison on flight prices from 10 or 12 different airlines. Suppose we can consider it as, suppose Paytm is there, Goibibo is there. So they are the sites, they don't have the whole flights database. I mean, all of the world's flights database, they don't have. What they only have, they have the API access from the airlines. All the airlines have their APIs. So what they do here, Expedia or Kayak, is a example, but we can consider it as a Paytm, maybe any other thing like you can Goibibo is there. So what is happening in these cases, they don't have the real data, they don't have the vast amount of data of all the airlines. What they have is they have APIs, and we are getting the data, we are experiencing the data in their system only when we are calling the APIs. So when we are calling the APIs, at the time of suppose we are putting from Bhubaneswar to Hyderabad. So suppose I'm putting that I want to go from Bhubaneswar to Hyderabad, and it will be a round trip. So at that time, what they are doing is they are just generating a API request and sending it to the particular sending it to all the airlines which have the same route. And at that time, what is happening? All the data from the airlines which have a round trip feature from Bhubaneswar airport to Hyderabad airport, they are fetching their data and showing it just to make it to experience to the users. So at the time of pressing that button, clicking that button only, we are experiencing, we can see the data. So what is happening behind? The real data, the real airline data is stored on the server. So what is happening here? When we're calling, that API is just bringing and showing us the data. And here we can see they simply use the API provided. You can see here what I explained. They simply use the API provided by each individual airlines to plug into the flight scheduling software for each company and pull information into a single view for the end user. So this is well said. So instead of keeping the whole data, they're just using API provided by each individual airline to plug into the flight scheduling software. So what is happening in aeroplane companies? In airline companies, they have scheduling softwares. For Air India, there is maybe another. For Indigo, maybe another. So they have scheduling software, and they have the whole data. So when we are making an API call, they're just fetching the data and showing it to us. Because the API is a standardized gateway to the airline schedule and pricing data, Goibibo doesn't have to develop a dozen different methodologies tailored to each airline before they can establish communications. This eliminates the need for the travel comparison site to duplicate every data set, create new data, or hold the data itself in order to function. So, for example, we discussed about how airline, ticketing platform functions using APIs instead of using the whole data that the scheduling software of each individual airline holds of. Next, uh, so APIs function similarly in enterprise environments, making building applications and accessing data quicker, more efficient, and less prone to duplication or security errors. So here there is a thing. I mean, there is a concernable thing comes like APIs function similarly in enterprise environments, making building applications and accessing data quicker, more efficient, and less prone to duplication or security errors. So quicker means you can say like before what how API work or in which concept API works. So API have majorly vastly two concepts. One is RESTful web services, REST API. Another one is SOAP APIs. So nowadays, for making the data be accessible in a quicker way, we are doing what? We are using REST web services. And to be more efficient and less prone to duplication or security errors, for that, we are using in a different kind of hosting manner. Instead of building a whole big, large monolithic application, we're doing what? We are breaking it into some parts like identical usability and feature wise parts. We are doing that. And that's what microservice comes into play. When we are talking about the REST web services or SOAP web services and RESTful APIs, so that's what microservice come into play. How the data can be accessible quicker, more efficient, and less prone to duplication of security. So here efficient means we can say like efficient. There are many name of efficient, right? So efficient maybe if efficient can be defined as for an API. We can define it as suppose at a sudden time a huge number of traffic coming into the site, coming into calling that API. So in that case, API needs to be handled skillfully. How that can be done? So all the APIs should have some rate limits, and also with that, all the APIs what we are developing or what is already developed there, that has that APIs, all the APIs have their own load balancing system. Like in microservices, we have concepts like ribbon, or in hosting sites, or in Linux Ubuntu, we already have concepts like engine server. So what efficiency in by means of a huge traffic is, that is called as load balancing. So load balancing can be done in two ways. One is using ribbon. If you're using Spring Boot microservices, one is ribbon, that is client side load balancer, to make the APIs efficient, more efficient, to function more efficiently. And the second one, engine server. So that is a server So that also can be used to to make the server side load balancing to make all the APIs more efficient, and there is a less prone to duplication or security errors. And for that we have concepts like historics and fault tolerance and all. Next, uh, okay. Why APIs are critical for health IT development? So here is the key point. Like healthcare organizations face challenges accessing and sharing data, especially as healthcare IT infrastructure migrates to the cloud and digital information becomes an industry standard. Different data sets use different formats, making interoperability between apps challenging. So there is a point, like healthcare organizations face challenges accessing this sharing data. So we already know, like healthcare organization not are not IT firms, right? So they face challenges. Obviously, they face challenges accessing and sharing their data, especially as healthcare IT infrastructure migrates to the cloud and digital information becomes an industry standard. Different data sets use different formats, making interoperability between apps challenging. So, in case of healthcare organizations, how they perform, how they share the data, is by, how what was the traditional way of sharing the data was like, it was difficult. How? So, suppose some organization has a format of data, of X-rays, maybe some other EHRs, but different organization may have data in different format. Like suppose a different organization have data of MRI, brain tumor scans, or any COVID data, maybe Corona data, Corona tracking data, maybe Corona travel data. So different types of data in different format all across the industry of healthcare industry. So at one point they it becomes very difficult for them to share the data. So for solving in order to solve that, there is a bridge, there is a concept, there is a solution comes, that is called APIs. So there is no such thing as one set of data that gives you everything you need in a single format. So like I told, there is nothing that can give you, there is nothing other than APIs that can give you a single format of data, or in a single way, or in a single data set. So depending upon different electronic devices like X-rays, MRIs, and so and so. So we have different format of data and different format of data sets. So there is no such thing as one set of data that gives you everything you need in one single format. There will always be information coming from a number of different places, different kind of electronic devices that is used in medical hospitals. There will always be a needed to work with systems that handle that. So in order to solve that, we need to we need a solution for that. We need a solution system concept for that, that is called APIs. How that is being solved, I can show you here why APIs are critical for health at development. This is part two. So because APIs are points of communication between systems, they are being developed to simplify interoperability to perform healthcare professionals and users data more efficiently. So HL7 is company is currently developing the first healthcare interoperability resource FHIR data standard which provides a standardized way to aggregate and merge patient health data from separate data sources. So regardless of the individuality of any data source, any kind of electronic health record. So what HL7 is doing, they're developing FHIR, that is first healthcare interoperability resource. So key word is here, interoperability means that will be operable, that can be operable between intersystems, between different system, different kind of formats, different kind of health records, different kind of medical electronic devices. FHIR data standard, which provides a standardized way. So what this software is doing, this is providing a standardized way to aggregate and merge, I mean, any kind of data you want to put it here, so that can be merged and aggregated here from, I mean, regardless of any data sources. Like, I mean, that can be from a Indian medical MRI scan to American medical, X-ray records. So that can be standardized and merged, patient health data from separate data sources. I mean, regardless of any country or continent, there is no boundary for that. So FHIR creates a standard to make it easier for healthcare professionals to use and share clinical data by restructuring healthcare data from different sources into a compatible format for easier interoperability. So what I mean understood, what I explained before, FHIR creates a standard to make it easier for healthcare professionals to use and share clinical data by restructuring healthcare data. So what is they are existing in the system, in the software, in the electronic devices. So what this software is doing is helping to restructure the healthcare data. So they have different structures as of then. So this software is doing, creating new structures. It's restructuring healthcare data from different sources into a compatible format for easier interoperability. Next, healthcare records are increasingly becoming digitized. Official FHIR document states as patients move around the healthcare ecosystem, the electronic health records must be available, discoverable, and understandable. Further, to support automated clinical decision support and other machine-based processing, the data must also be structured and standardized. So the main point comes that scales the APIs that define the vital role of APIs. In healthcare sector. So here it states, as patients move around the healthcare ecosystem. So it's not mandatory like one patient will go only to one hospital. Maybe it can cross a country, it can cross a continent, in order to be cured, in order to cure the disease he or she has. So as patients move around the healthcare ecosystem, so any patient can go anywhere, right? So the electronic health records must be available, discoverable, and understandable. So here one thing comes, for the patient convenience, for the user convenience, regardless of which regardless of which hospital we go, which continent's hospital we go. So we have data, with a you can say it like we have with a patient user ID, or maybe we are being assigned with a single primary key which can hold the data, the health record of whatsoever the disease someone has. So from the starting, their electronic health records must be available, discoverable, and understandable. So further, to support automated clinical decision support, other machine-based processing, the data must be structured and the standardized. So this is the key focus here. Why we need structured and standardized data? Just to make all the records available, but for all the doctors, of the patients, and discoverable, easily discoverable, and understandable. So making it in a simple structure, making it restructured in a standardized format will make the data understandable by all the doctors around the globe. So for that, we need a structure and a standardized data, and the standard and the structure should be known to all the doctors of the world. Or maybe it will be as much as it will be so simple that anyone can understand, any health professional can understand it. So for that, we need the restructurization of the data, and it should be in a some standard. So while FHIR is not yet as widely used in healthcare as it could be, the importance of APIs is high priority for the ONC, which has included the technology in its most recent uh, uh, res- electronic health records certification criteria. The ONCs proposed the rule for 2015 edition certified EHR technology outlines three technical outcomes for APIs that vendor products need to meet. So at the time of providing APIs by a particular vendor, so these are the three technical outcomes for a single API that the vendor needs to meet, at least needs to meet. So one is security. The API needs to include means for the establishment of a trusted connection. The application that requests patient data, this would need to be include a means for the requesting applications, to register with the data source, be authorized to request data, and log all interactions between the application and the data source. Then after security, another key term for concern that comes, patient selection. The API would need to include means for the applications to query for an ID or other token of a patient's record in order to subsequently execute data request for that record. So like how I explained, so patient selection means every patient should hold an ID, not a physical ID card, like kind of patient ID. I mean that will be standardized across. All the all the way. So one patient ID. Suppose we have APIs and putting that patient ID. Suppose one patient ID for instance, let's keep it like ABC123. That is a patient ID. So when I put a patient ID in a developed API, so I can get to know that this patient has gone through these hospitals, has gone through this past year. Over the past years, or maybe it's having this much problem, or maybe we can tell it like this patient. Getting. Putting that that ID to the APIs, we can get all the health records that is, put in that system from the starting of the ID. So and security, one was security, second was patient selection, and third was data request, response scope, and a written format. So this is more of a more of a technical part here. So the API would need to support two types of data request and response by data category and all. In both cases, while the scope required for certification is limited to the data specified in the Common Clinical Dataset, that is CCDS, additional data is permitted and encouraged. So this, three sub things like data request, response scope, and return format. So data request is what kind of where limit comes. So one API we can, as a developer or as a as a vendor, we can decide that this API, suppose there is a API, there is an API which provides patients, travel history. Suppose there is a API, for instance, let's say for example, for coronavirus. So in case of coronavirus, suppose there is an API developed, so we can API developed just to by putting one patient ID, you can get to know what was the travel history so far from the starting of the patients, positive symptoms. So what was the travel history so far? So we can track that. And what is data request plays the role here. So data request is something that puts limit on uses of the data, on uses of the API. So we can decide how much time a day, how much time a week one API can be called. One API can be can be accessed by one user. One user means one suppose a healthcare system I'm considering here. So and after making that request, after calling that, invoking that API. So what is the response scope here? So data response can come with various formats. Like I can get the response in JSON, JSON, or maybe in XML, or in all format. I can in the both format I can get the data. So depending upon which platform I'm going to integrate that data, which platform I'm going to use that data, I need to use that. Suppose I'm going to illustrate, demonstrate here in JavaScript jQuery how we are invoking an API and getting the data back. So here the ONC 2015 CHRT regulations encourage developers to custom design APIs that work for the institution while outlining requirements to ensure security and data integration. So like how I explained, the data, depending upon the integrational environment of the data from where the API is being called, so that format will be decided by the integrational team. So if as a team we need JSON format data or in XML data, we can decide that, and according to that we can make a call. Next, the questions of API security. So the most, in technical terms, the most critical part here, that's security. So we can develop API, we can develop web application, we can develop monolithic, we can develop microservices, but the most vulnerable thing is we have to protect it. We have to make it secure in order to in order to not to allow anyone, any random person to to enter a system. We need to make it secure. So the ONC 2015 edition CHRT specifically uh, calls for organizations to secure their API connections to ensure that unauthorized users do not gain access to the healthcare API. So that can be it can be a malpractice work. Like any unauthorized, any person which is not authorized or which is not authenticated by the APIs should not gain access to the healthcare APIs. Means simple, only that person, only that institution will access the API which are meant to access, which are already authorized, which are being authenticated by the system in a positive way. So organizations are tasked with implementing security measures and protocols to protect their network and data from malicious attacks or leaked information, both of which could have serious implications for patients. So each and every individual organization is tasked with implementing security measures and protocols, to protect, to the network and data from malicious attacks. So what is the most important goal here? To protect the data. As we are dealing with data, APIs means data. As we are dealing with data, the most precious, the most valuable thing we are going to perform here, we're going to do here, is protecting the data. That is the most vulnerable thing, that is the most important thing, and that is the most highly vulnerable thing in the system. So that should not be leaked by any attacker, any hacker, anyone. And which being able to leak that data, by any attacker, hacker, can lead to serious implications for patients. Obviously, the health IT policy and standards committee formed the API task force to identify perceived security concerns and real security risks that are barriers to the widespread adoption of open APIs in healthcare. So here there is a term here, open APIs. So what do we mean by that, open APIs? So open API means, in software and in kind of APIs, so there are two things. One is private, that is one is private, and one is public. So that public is accessible to the whole world, anyone can access that. without any I mean proper authorization or authentication, anyone can have that, anyone can call that API.
हम लोग का खाना बन
Yes.
जाता है
Sorry.
क्या
Okay, the organizations are tasked.
खाना बन जाता
Anyone needs to put something.
है बनाइए
Okay, the Health IT Policy and Standards Committee formed the API task force to identify perceived security concerns and real security risks that are barriers to the widespread adoption of an API in healthcare. Next, we go uh, a report released earlier this year by the API task force, along with the Health IT Policy and Standards Committee, outlines security concerns APIs bring to healthcare. There are fears that APIs may open new security vulnerabilities, with apps accessing patient records for evil and without receiving proper patient authorization, stated the report. There are also fears that APIs could provide a possible fire hose of data as opposed to the one sip at a time access that a website or email interface may provide. So here one thing comes. So if any hacker, attacker, I mean, without proper authorization or authentication, you know, get access on that data. So for evil, I mean, in a negative way, like that can be dangerous. I mean, patients' healthcare data is, I mean, should be private, so that cannot be used as for any business purpose, or that cannot be sold, or that cannot be used simply without authorization or authentication by that that authority system. So that should be secure. So when we are talking about the question of API security, that should be secure. And there are fears that okay, so new concepts in technology, new APIs, API. So I mean, forget about APIs. Any concept in the market of technology, in the technical sector, that always welcomes new vulnerabilities. Like um, any technology comes, being innovated new ways to crack that system, to crack that technology, to crack that software. New vulnerability comes by hackers, maybe by attackers. So that is a continuous process. So what we have to do as a developer, we have to, you know, so as a developer, we have to, be aware about that. Like no one should have connection, no one should have access, free access to the APIs we have developed so far. Considering how public consumer facing APIs function, the concerns raised by the report are valid. There is the risk of users gaining access to too much data instead of just the data they need. Even if the user is not evil, authorized users accessing a wealth of data they do not need is still a security risk and may violate HIPAA privacy regulations. The report found that when properly secured and managed, the benefits of API outweigh the risk, and several organizations testified that properly managed APIs provided better security than legacy or proprietary integration technologies. Well-managed healthcare API exchange usually includes authentication, authorization, encryption, and signatures to ensure secure connections. So, authentication and authorizations are used to reliably, determine a user's identity and what resources they can access, usually through usernames and passwords. Security software certificates and that SSL certificates, and you can say it like SSH certificates, and hardware keys may also be used for extra security, obviously. So encryption hides data from unauthorized users and acts as a failsafe in the event the clinical data is stolen. Signatures are also used to validate API requests and ensure the data didn't experience interference during the transit. The API task force report touches on APIs and HIPAA regulations, particularly focusing on patient-directed API technology. While managed APIs are secure, the risk factor arises when patients are accessing PHI without being familiar with the HIPAA notice of privacy practice for protected health information. If patients do not understand the value the personal health data has to hackers seeking to steal their identity, I mean explained, they are more likely to carelessly share it with a third-party app and expose themselves to privacy breaches. The task force, so here customers, the patients also need to know about the scopes of that of their private EHR data. The task force also recognizes the potential risk of patients accessing HIPAA approved APIs and sharing the information with an app that is not regulated under HIPAA, such as a commercial fitness tracker app, you can say, for an example, for an instance. The biggest hangup facing data integration in healthcare is the lack of consistency in data formats among the disparate organizations, especially when it comes to EHS. Like I explained, in EHR, different data format, different data sets are there. Varying upon different electronic devices. So when electronic devices varies, formats and data sets also varies. For that, we need a solution for restructuring and reorganizing the data in order to make it accessible, in order to make it understandable, in order to make it discoverable by all the healthcare professionals easily. So the Registries Institute is one of the several organizations seeking to merge patient health data from separate data sources to create an industry data standard using HL7 FHIR. We can really stitch together information in various sources using FHIR in a way that is user-centered and obviously it will be accepted by physicians and patients. The Registries Institute investigator Titus Tyler, okay, so this is the man who told this this statement to stitch the data between patient data, and that will be well acceptable by the patients, which is really going to use, and the healthcare professionals also. The Registries Institute aims to leverage the hook of the FHIR standard and API technology to assemble health information from different electronic health record systems. The institute deployed a use case between an EPIC EHR using the Open EPIC API and Indiana Network of Patient Care INPC, what is abbreviated for, using a previous version of FHIR. Although this use case wasn't a full implementation, the Registry Institute was able to INPC proof of concept that their data could be integrated with different systems. So the Argonne project in another organization with close ties to FHIR, the group is working to develop a FHIR based API and core data services to expand the sharing of electronic health information. The goal of the project is to enable interested vendors and providers to develop and implement a focused but complete FHIR API specification and accompanying security implementation. And these members encourage prepared entities to move more quickly towards data standardization and data restructurization and API adoption that than currently regulatory processes require in order to lead the industry by example. For example, you can say. So I've seen a lot of more progress when groups of providers, organizations, and technology developers get together and say we're going to go at the quickest pace we can, regardless of whether the whole market travels at the same speed or not. Next, looking towards the future of APIs in healthcare. So what may be the future of healthcare? Future of APIs in healthcare. Like it's not widely used nowadays. As of current date, it's not used in all the organizations. So support for API APIs in healthcare is growing as government organizations encourage the use of APIs in health IT infrastructure. So this is, it's a very important way. It's a very huge, vital way to be played, vital role to be played by the government to encourage the organizations to use the APIs in health IT infrastructure in their states, in their province, or in their country. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services (CMS) recently called for the use of APIs to help providers meet requirements for electronic, patient access health information by giving consumers tools to easily interact with their personal health data. ONC also recognized the importance of FHIR and APIs by hosting a pair of industry challenges and a funding opportunity to address several interoperability issues in healthcare, including helping patients access their data, improving the provider user experience of electronic health records, and other health IT tools, and coordinating the development of app-based solutions across the industry. Next, the support CMS and ONC have FHIR and API speaks to the future of the technology and its potential impact on healthcare interoperability. The FHIR standard is still quite new, and the who are implementing way forward to make sure they understand it, and to discover if there are any gaps or bugs. And if we are talking about the gaps and bugs, so there should, they must be present in order to make the, in order to solve them, in order to find them. We'll fix them later. So in order to make the system efficient, so bugs needs to be hunted, or if the specification is not actually specific enough. So we can now move to the practical part. So here I have, what I have with me is, I have a, what I'm going to illustrate now is, so as far this corona pandemic is concerned, so in this corona pandemic also, what this technical, what this technical IT fields have done is, uh, what we can using, how this APIs can be helpful for tracking the data of coronavirus. So okay, I can show you. I can explain you in a single sentence, like uh, the rise of cases, maybe confirm, maybe recover, maybe death cases of coronavirus, what we are, the whole world was monitoring via some, numerous sites, numerous, maybe some TV news channels, maybe some websites, maybe some Android application. So the whole world was tracking the data. Tracking data by means of, visualizing the data, like, okay, this is March. In March, 2000 cases, in April, 3000 cases, so far. So the whole world was monitoring, visualizing the data. But behind that data, what actually was getting the data from the database and fetching it to, fetching from the after fetching from the database, showing the data to the user, that are the APIs. The behind game, behind the, the numbers we are experiencing, like, okay, this is the confirmed cases, these are the number of recovery cases, the number of death cases happened, from so time to so time. So how that data was being fetched by the systems, by the different kind of websites, so that was APIs. So I can show you, like, what I can show you here. So I have an API. I have an API. So which returns all the available countries and provinces, as well as the country slug for per country requests. Also, I have API. Return all. I have an API. This is the API. You can. Okay. One sec. Now it will be visible to all of you. So now I have this. I have this API. Okay. So now you can see there is a day one API. So here what happens? This day one API, this is the GET API. This day one API returns all cases by case type for a country. From the first recorded case, country must be slug. This is the format actually. The cases must be one of confirmed recovery. So these are the status: confirmed, recovered, deaths. So if we call this API, if we invoke this API, what we can get, I can show you right here. So for invoking the API, I'm using a Postman, and we can do that using you know using we can do that using JavaScript, jQuery, and Ajax. In a scratched manner. So explaining that in Postman. So Postman is a tool, web tool, just to make calls of APIs. I mean, suppose you don't have any web application and you want to test an API, so you can use Postman for that. So I'm pasting that here. So here, if I want to check, so here with this API, I want to check what is from the day one, what was the confirmed number of cases, coronavirus cases in India. So in order to do that, this is the whole URI, api.covid19api.com/day1, country India, status confirmed. If I put, I can change the status for checking, for instance, like confirmed, I can check recovered cases, I can check death cases from day one. So once I hit the send button here, I can get the whole data. Okay, sorry, it's a get method actually. If I to hit send, so I can get here. So from in India, I mean, after hitting this API, from day one to till date, I can get the whole data. I can track the whole data actually. I mean, of the cases that are confirmed. So what is the day one of coronavirus case in India, that you can see here. Country is India, country code IN, province is it's we are showing in a country manner. So latitude is this, long is this, case is one, status confirmed. So when was the first case of coronavirus in India? That is 30th January 2020. That was the first coronavirus case in India. Then next you can see, next is 31st. Then in the third one was in Feb 1st, and in Feb 2nd, two cases were there in India. In Feb 3rd Feb, three cases are there. So like this, you can track the whole data. So okay, so I can show you till date. In today, I can show you, or in I'm showing you from a random date. So in September 23, the number of confirmed cases in India was 5732518. So using this API, we can get the confirmed cases of of the data of the coronavirus cases in India. Yes, Ganeshan M, please. You want to put something? Hello. Oh, okay. So yes. So you want to put something?
Listen, nothing, sir.
No, you
Nothing.
proceed, Devanand. You proceed.
Okay. So as we have put in this API, the status we put confirmed. So if we put recovery cases, we want to see the recovery cases from day one, like 30th of January was the first day of the first coronavirus confirmed case in India. So we can view the recovery date also. From day one, like we can check here. We have to change the recovery. We have to change the status. So if I put if you can see here, if I put status recovered here and hit the button once again. Okay, so this is the data, like from the day one. Okay, so from the day one, like 30th January was the day one of coronavirus confirmed case. So from so we can see here, like the first recovery in India of coronavirus was on this was on 16th of February. 16th of February was the there are 3 number of recoveries was in India. So we can track all the data, like I put confirm here, I put recovery here. If I put any kind of deaths here, DEATHS deaths, so hit send, you can see here. So what was the first day of coronavirus casualty in India? We can get it here. So the first day was in this way, like 15th of March was one day, like 14th of March, 13th of March, 11th of March was a day. Deaths happened in India. Okay, so these are all about the importance of API in healthcare sector, like sitting down here, without having any real database, we can track all the data of coronavirus using this API, and we can integrate these APIs in our system, in our individual systems, regardless of what kind of system, what languages of the system is written in, and in which platforms we have hosted the software. So these are all the features of API. These are the key roles. These are the reasons to adopt APIs in healthcare system. That's all. Thank you. Any questions, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Devanand. Myself, Dr. S.K. Tripathi, the coordinator of Atal FDP. Yeah, hello. Very good afternoon to all participants present here. So now we came across to the end of our FDP session. So thank you, Mr. Devanand. With a short span, you have agreed and said your very good informative talk with our participants. Thank you very much for supporting us.
It's my pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you, sir.
So, yeah, somebody has raised participants. If you have any queries to discuss with Mr. Devananda, please you can raise up your queries. You can ask any type of questions to him. He is in our FDP right now. Anybody else from the participant side?
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, very good afternoon.
Sir, Anand sir, is there
Karan,
any
sir?
API for agriculture data extraction, sir?
Yes. There are
Okay,
APIs.
so if you want to extract the data regarding the forecast of a particular crop in a yield, crop.
Yes, the government of India, NIC is providing the APIs for that.
Okay.
Yes, I mean there are free APIs and there are paid APIs as well.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
So these APIs will be helpful for the farmers, whether to
obviously.
grow
I
that
mean
particular
crop
crop for
forecasting,
that.
weather. Yes, yes. Forecasting, weather forecasting. These are the some I mean free APIs are also available in the web. That is I mean provided by the I mean government of the each country. So some are free and some are premium actually. You can get I mean from the NIC site.
Is it available on the net side? Where can I get these APIs?
You can search for free crop yielding forecasting APIs.
Shankaracharya. Anybody else, please? Any of you of the participants, please, if you have any query, please reach out. Okay, then. Okay, thank you, Mr. Devanand. Thank you very much for your informative and valuable information shared with the participants. So, dear participants, this is the end of our second session of today's program, and now we are going to bind up our total FDP program. So before that, I just thanks to all on behalf of KIT University. I would like to congratulate and thank you all for choosing us and our FDP program. We really miss you all. I mean, the participants, all resource persons physically in our vibrant and greenery campus, which is developed by our honorable founder, Professor Dr. Achyuta Samanta sir. So everything is possible in our KIT University campus because of his dedication, belonging, and untired effort. Really, we all are inspired by his simplicity of living. Now we came across successfully about the last 5 days, including today, our AICT sponsored Atal FDP program. And we are very happy with the huge number of participants engaged in our Atal FDP program from 21st December to till date. So we would like to thank all the participants for their enthusiastic participation during these 5 days of this FDP. And we hope this experience helps you stay concerned and motivated to address the problems on sustainability by providing new ideas, new products, and new services that will benefit to humanity. You all made our FDP more interesting, and we hope you gained valuable experience and life skills. We are fortunate to have a wide range of resource persons from all arenas, starting from academic to industry. And some speakers, some resource persons like Mr. Devanand, with a short notice, they have agreed. As you know, Mr. Sunil is suffering from his health problem. So he could not provide us his service rather than one day only. So we missed him in our FDP program. So definitely in future, when we'll arrange any other FDP program or any training program, definitely we will invite Mr. Sunil again to join with us. So thanks to all resource persons, those have committed to come and deliver their talk, and they have also delivered nicely, and they have shared their more informative and knowledgeable contents and artifacts with us. So all PPTs and video lectures are already with us, so definitely we'll share to you all, so that at any time, as and when required, you can refer to them. So once again, thank you all resource persons for your stimulating and informative talks. Your comments were especially helpful to us for improving our research.
Thank you.
So once again, thank very much for your participation in this important Atal FDP. Finally, thanks to all members of AICT for providing such opportunity to conduct Atal FDP in our KIT University premises. And thanks again for your participation in this memorable days. And we hope you can join us in future programs. So keep up the good work, and maybe you never know who are inspiring. So good luck, stay safe, and take care. So all participants, I request here, we will start at 12:30 the test program, and exactly at the 12:30 we will share the Google form link in WhatsApp group. So please be connect with the WhatsApp group at 12:30, and this test is open up to 3 p.m. And as you know that the guideline of AICTE, you have to secure minimum 60% marks in the test and 80% attendance in all 5 days altogether. So attendance part is already covered. So regarding the test, I sincerely request to all participants, please refer the slides I shared with you in a Google Drive link. I have already said in the WhatsApp, and in also in the chat of Zoom, our virtual meeting chat, I have already said. So please refer and find out your answers immediately, so that within a stipulated of the time, you can finish up your answers. So this is the strictly guideline for AICTE. So all of you, I think, will cooperate with us. And nice to see you here. And again, hope in the futures also, we have a lot of programs in our PT University campus. And we have a lot of research activities. We have a lot of, book proposals, publications. So I invite you all, not only the participants, even the resource persons also, you may collaborate with us, or you can give an opportunity to collaborate with you from our side. And we are ready to extend our lovable hands to combine effort from your side and from our side. So definitely it will be a win-win solution for all of us. Being an academician, being an industry persons, we have to work together. So once again, I thanks to all of you. So this is the end of our entire FDP program. So all sessions have completed, all 14 sessions being completed, including the spiritual session. So as per the AICTE guideline, we have completed successfully all 14 sessions, and the test is open, will open at 12:30. So I request all participants, those who have registered and approved by the coordinator. So if any participants, those are not approved, if your application is not approved by the coordinator, please, you are not allowed to appear the test. If you allow also, if you appear the test also, your candidature will not consider until unless your coordinator will approve. So we have already approved 200 applicants out of 250. So those 200 applications are approved, they only will appear the test. So if anybody has attended the FDP, doesn't matter. The gaining of the knowledge, sharing of the knowledge, understanding of the knowledge is a great thing. You have gained, but you cannot appear the test because your application is not approved. So I request all approved applicants, please be appear in the test at 12:30. Good luck, stay safe, and take care. Bye-bye. Take care. Good day. Thank you all.